good afternoon or good morning, depending on what time you have chosen to watch this. This is a Camp Insight presentation for those interested or planning to attend Joint Component Team Leadership Summit. This is for youth and parents to learn a little bit more about the camps, the schedule, and how exactly the University of Georgia plans to communicate with parents and youth leading up to the camps and during the actual camps themselves. Introductions. Who all is a part of the military 4-H partnership team? Dr. Casey Mole is our leader. He is the Extension 4-H specialist and 4-H military coordinator. Marilyn Huffwaller is our 4-H military partnership assistant. She is our logistics guru. Stacy Wilson is our Extension 4-H accounting assistant. Casey Bozeman is a 4-H agent and county extension coordinator and has served alongside Dr. Casey at the camps and helping plan the camps for several years alongside Miss Marilyn Huffwaller. And finally, I am Laura Goss, the 4-H military camp coordinator and your presenter for today. Joint Component Team Leadership Summit. The date is June 17th through the 22nd. We have adults arrive one day prior to the youth to help prepare for the camps, oversee the actual transportation to and from the airport, and do some extra training before youth arrive. The camp is located north of Atlanta in Dahlonega, Georgia. And the center is called Wauseega 4-H Center, and it is one of our oldest 4-H centers in Georgia 4-H, and it's a very unique and awesome experience that youth are going to experience while they're at Wauseega. And I'm going to show some pictures of the center in a little bit. Contact information. If you have questions about the camp, about the application, whether or not you have received the correct airline information, anything like that, we encourage you to contact us at the email address provided on the screen. Dr. Casey, Miss Marilyn Huffwaller, and myself do check that daily, and we will be happy to assist you. Also, if you have a question that you would like to talk to us about, you can contact the State 4-H office. And while we are at camp or on travel days, we actually use a Google Voice number. This helps us communicate. A Google Voice number allows multiple parties to answer the same phone line. So we're not having to give out multiple phone numbers to parents. You can just call one and then have the opportunity to talk to several people. If I am busy, you can talk to Casey or vice versa. Thank you to our funders and partners. A lot of parents have asked how these camps are funded, and so I want to make sure you all are aware about the partnership that we have. It is the extension partnership between Department of Defense and the United States Department of Agriculture in relation with Purdue University. And so from that, the University of Georgia puts on these camps. And so you'll see that Ms. Carolyn Stevens, Dr. Lisa, Mr. Eddie, and Miss Renee are all key people that we want to make sure that we thank. So if you do have the opportunity to send your child or you yourself are attending this camp, we ask that you write these individuals thank you letters so that we can continue these programs. These folks will be included in the youth packet when you arrive to camp, but it never hurts to send a pre-thank you as well. So these camps are fully funded. No cost to you as a family. So we do cover airline fee, lodging, meals, and all of those types of fees that a normal camp would charge families. So very fortunate and thankful for this partnership that we have with the Department of Defense and the United States Department of Agriculture alongside the Purdue University. Who will be working with youth as a youth professional? I think this is probably one of the more important things to answer, and that is knowledgeable, screened, educated volunteers. And these volunteers are people who are military members, whether that is retired, current, or a spouse. We love to have military members at our camps to be role models, examples, and chaperones to our youth. We also incorporate former and present 4-H camp counselors to help with our camping program. Passionate Georgia 4-H volunteers. Volunteers that work with Georgia 4-H throughout the year are also invited and encouraged to assist at these camps. And also UGA Extension employees oversee the youth programming, such as Casey Bozeman, Dr. Casey, or myself are all UGA employees. All of these individuals have gone through a background check through the University of Georgia. They have received 2 to 3 references that say, yes, I agree that Laura is a good person and should be working with youth, or no, I do not agree. And if we do get a no, we move on to another volunteer perspective. Who will be working with youth? Continued. For the classes that are such as high ropes, lifeguarding, herpetology, on-center classes that are not leadership oriented, we actually have trained counselors who work at the center for the entire summer. And these counselors are lifeguard certified, CPR certified, and first aid, along with rope course certified. So we have some great counselors who have grown up in the 4-H program, that are attending colleges or technological schools, serving and leading your youth while they are at Waseca 4-H Center. Medical services, another important question to answer. How is my child going to be taken care of while at Waseca? And we do have a first aid station. At the first aid station, we have different supplies to help take care of youth. But if there is an emergency that happens that cannot be taken care of at the first aid station, we are going to take the child to Chesapeake Regional Hospital, or depending at urgent care close by. The hospital is only 24 minutes away. We also have a partnership and understanding with the Army Ranger Station, which is just up the road. And again, I'm just also mentioning the certifications that the counselors have. Medication. Medication will be turned in at the start of camp. UGA employees will administer and oversee medicine while at Waseca, and medicine will be secured in the first aid cottage. We ask that medicine not be kept in the cabins due to safety concerns. Medicine is provided to the youth, will always be logged by the University of Georgia employees, and this is a standard that medication or services are always logged. So if you have a question if your child received proper medication, we can pull the log and show that to you. Special diets and allergies. We do accommodate youth needs, whether that's a special diet, food allergy, religious dietary reasons, or other. We just ask that you let us know before camp. It's really hard to accommodate youth if we find out that they're allergic to milk the day they arrive. So on the medical release form, you can actually put it on the form under allergies, and it's in a big bold box in the center of the form. When will you receive the medical release form? Once you have been accepted to camp, you will receive a packet from the University of Georgia via email, and in that packet will be the medical release form. And on that form, you can let us know who is your medical provider, along with prescription medicines that your child can or will need to take while at camp. Travel flight coordination. The University of Georgia is in charge and will manage all flight coordination for youth participants along with adults traveling to and from camp. And you will receive airport information via an email handout. And in that handout, it will include graphics of the airport with a guide to the youth to let them know where we will be taking youth in, and contact information, what the airline will be that your child will be flying on, and the confirmation number. Youth will receive an email ticket confirmation, and UGA staff will purchase all tickets. If there are any errors once you receive this packet, we ask that you send them as soon as possible. In your application that you submit to the University of Georgia on the 4-H event website, you can put in what airport is closest to you that you will be departing from. Please make sure that if there are any changes to the airport departure location that you notify Miss Marilyn or myself, and we will make sure that we can make those changes if eligible. To and from the airport, we will be traveling on charter buses, chaperoned by the volunteers and driven by trained charter bus drivers. Youth can be dropped off at the airport if you are close by and there is no need for them to fly on an airplane, or if you live close to Wasiga 4-H Center, you actually can also drop your child off at the actual camp location. Youth arriving by the plane will be welcoming everybody by the USO sign that is directly outside of the security area. And like I mentioned before, we are sending a youth packet, and it will actually have pictures of leading the youth from terminal to baggage claim to help them kind of understand the airport even before they arrive. And it's going to take about 1.5 hours to travel to Wasiga 4-H Center, or vice versa. So we do have plenty of time to get to know each other as we travel to and from camp. Resources. This is going to be sent to your child. We just really want you to understand that we know that sending your child on an airplane can be maybe scary, or to the child, it could be a little much for some folks. So we are going to provide an airport map, an airline flight tracker, and we want you to be aware of the airport flight signs that are located throughout the airport. So if you have not been a youth member who have traveled a lot, I encourage you to look over the resources that we're going to send and just talk with your parent about traveling in the airport just to get a little bit more comfortable. But we are going to have UGA staff member and volunteers on site at the airport. So if you have any issues whatsoever, you're confused while you're traveling, please communicate with us and we will assist you. But parents, we do ask that you do as much as you can to help assist your child pre and during camp, because we will be taking in several youth in a matter of just a couple of hours. So please help us out by preparing your youth if they are chosen to attend this camp. Communication, we do communicate directly with youth the day of travel. However, if you would not like us to communicate directly with the youth member and you would prefer us to communicate with the parent or guardian, we are happy to do so. We want to try to help your child to arrive as safely and timely as they can. And so when we communicate directly with youth, it shortens the communication between multiple parties, essentially. And we also feel that it creates independence and responsibility to the youth member when they're able to take charge of their travel arrangements and figuring out the airport. What if your child does not have a phone? That's completely fine. If they're on center with us or off-site and an emergency happens, youth can ask adult volunteers to use their phone if it's an emergency. If you have an emergency at home, you can also communicate directly to us, and my phone number in the Wasiga 4-H Center is located there for your use. If your child is traveling in the airport and does not have a cell phone, there are airport employees throughout the airport that can assist youth. Here's the camp facility, and maybe perhaps what you might be very interested in if you have not already checked out the Wasiga 4-H Center website. The living arrangements are simple and rustic and great, and we do use bunk beds like mini camps, and the picture on your right-hand side is a picture of a typical cabin at Wasiga 4-H Center. The living arrangements is an open setting, so adults and youth share the same area in the cabin, so we do require that adults and youth do not change out in front of each other. And the bathhouses are not going to be connected to the cabins. It is going to be a bathhouse for the girls and a bathhouse for the young men, and so the showering times are going to be separated for adults and youth. So adults are going to get to wake up a little early and take their showers, and youth will get a few extra minutes to sleep in while the adults shower. So we do try to make sure we're following safety concerns, but that is the living arrangements and the bathhouse is not a far walk at all. You might just want to bring a flashlight with you to camp in case you need to go to the restroom in the middle of the night. So what does camp look like exactly while you walk around camp? This right here is our recreation hall, where classes, dances, and assemblies occur. This is our dining hall on the last night of camp, nicely decorated and dressed up to make the night a little bit extra special. But this is where meals will be served throughout the camp week. This is the outside of the dining hall. It is handicap accessible. And this is just a nice little picture of the bridge. There is a creek that runs through the camp, makes a really beautiful setting. Some fun places around camp. If I was a camper, I'd want to know what I can do for fun during my free time. There is a volleyball court along with a basketball court, a huge field that's not pictured that ultimate frisbee can happen, and other types of fun games, or if you just want to lounge around on a beach towel for a little while and hang out, great place to do so. There's also a pond in the middle of the camp that we use for swimming and different fun activities. And maybe the most unique aspect about the camp is that there's actually a little mini waterfall that we use as a slide that's supervised by our lifeguards, but super fun and unique to Wausiga 4-H Center. Adventure activities. We like to think that at camp we offer not workshop, but adventure activities. So one of the really fun activities that all youth will get to participate in is whitewater rafting. That is one of the options we're going to drive and go to. We have the climbing wall on site, zip line, and other fun high rope activities that youth can participate in. We also have classes like herpetology and survival that youth participate in. So really adventure themed here at Wausiga 4-H Center. Then we also have camper choice activities. And these camper choice are as they sound. Once you arrive at camp, you can choose between 3 different activities to go to. You can actually climb on a rock face and rappel. We have water sports that includes kayaking and stand-up paddleboarding, along with swimming and hiking at Unicoi State Park. And we have one of the top-rated parks in the state of Georgia is the Tallulah Gorge, located in the northeast corner of the state. And you can actually hike down into the gorge, explore, and this is our hiking-themed adventure. And we are gonna offer 2 different skill sets. One's gonna be a little bit more adventure-themed at Tallulah, and then one's gonna be more about the sightseeing aspect at Tallulah. But youth are gonna be able to choose between these 3 activities, and in the youth packet that will be coming to you, if you are accepted, we'll include all 3 of these options with a little bit more description, but we want you to be aware of some of these fun activities coming y'all's way. The schedule daily, it does change depending on what's going on, because we do travel to whitewater rafting and we also are doing those adventure opportunities offsite. But we usually always begin our day with optional physical training that youth can participate in that ranges from running to Zumba sometimes to CrossFit. We do flag raising ceremonies daily and in the evening. And then you can see that we do allot time for different activities or those adventure activities, and lunch is provided on site. And then this is a very different day where no PT is going to happen because we are traveling to our off-site adventure, so we need to get out the door a little bit quicker. And we actually are going to end our day in downtown Dahlonega for a night out of fun and eating. The cell phone policy, a lot of parents are curious about this, and so youth are permitted to have their cell phones per the UGA policy on center at Wausiga 4-H Center, but we do ask that while classes are occurring or activities or when a leader is speaking, that youth do not have their cell phones out. If cell phones do become an issue, we can take them up, and we will put them in a secure location for the remainder of camp. So make sure, youth, that you are respectful when using your cell phones. We encourage you to use your cell phones for picture taking, but we really want you to immerse yourself in all that 4-H has to offer here at this location. The cell phone service typically is very weak at Wausiga, so you can't really expect if your youth member is on site to be able to make phone calls. There is going to be a protected Wi-Fi available, but again, we're trying to make sure that while at this center location, youth are really immersed in activities. And parents, if there is an emergency or if you have a concern, please contact UGA staff instead of contacting directly to your youth member. Code of conduct is something that is very important, and it will be included in a youth acceptance packet. And I do want to spend time going over the behavior consequences of what we expect as University of Georgia. The behavior, we expect you, youth member, to attend sessions and be responsible and during those sessions. And if a reasonable request is made by an adult leader or a counselor, that you follow that. We ask that you dress appropriately, use appropriate language, and respect others around you. You may not behave in a manner that affects other participants. If you're shouting out during different activities, that's not appropriate. We will politely ask you to maybe control yourself just a little bit. But we want you to have fun. So at sometimes it's completely appropriate to shout and have fun and just to really be a kid at camp. You may not access inappropriate websites on your cell phone or other technological devices or materials, and please do not bring inappropriate materials with you to camp. If we do find that you're doing this, it is going to require an incident report, and we will have to follow up. The consequences of behavior, just kind of mention that, but if a breach of the code of conduct has occurred, we will have to report that. An incident form will be filed by the University of Georgia so that we have record of what has occurred during our camp. And depending on different activities or inappropriate behavior, certain consequences might need to happen. So law enforcement and legal action required. Possession or use of illegal drugs do require us to contact the University of Georgia Police, along with the possession or use of a weapon, assault or harassment of another individual or an adult, and inappropriate sexual behavior does all require us to contact the University of Georgia Police. We do follow under their jurisdiction as we are under the University of Georgia while attending these camps. And I would like to mention that all that I have listed about the Code of Conduct can be found on a form and is fully described on that form. And it does ask that parent and youth member sign off saying that they understand and agree to follow this form. And it pertains to adult leaders as well. So we do expect adult leaders to follow this. And when they do not follow it, the same procedures that I mentioned previously will be followed for handling adult leaders. Pictures. This is really important. Adults will be taking photos. Of course, here at Wasiga, youth members will be taking photos as well. And we want to make sure that photos are uploaded so that when you leave camp, families and youth members can download and enjoy pictures for years to come. So in years past, we've been using Flickr. If that changes, we will notify you and keep you up to date on how we're going to be managing the photos for 2018. If you, if your child cannot have their photo taken, the Code of Conduct form that will be released, we just ask you to notify us on that form on the very top. Just say, my child cannot have their picture taken, and we will be sure to follow that. Spending money, canteen money, we try to keep prices lower here at Wasiga 4-H Center. Shirts are about, on average, $12. Hats are $10, soft drinks $2, and snacks $2. So if you enjoy having a little pick-me-up snack, feel free to bring some extra cash. However, lunch, breakfast, dinner are provided by Wasiga in your camp registration. So you are going to be fed, and you don't have to really worry about meals, but snacks are something that people enjoy. So if you would like to bring money, you're welcome to. We will be going to downtown Dahlonega. They have a fudge shop, t-shirt shop, outdoor shop, art galleries, different types of things. So if you enjoy picking up souvenirs, that might be a great spot to do so. we are going to be asking you to cover baggage fees if needed by your airline. So typically those are about $25 per flight, and travel lunch money on the day that you depart and arrive to camp. Be sure to bring some money for that. We don't want you to be hungry. Camper mail. We would love to give out mail to your camper at Wausiga. You can send handwritten letters, and we are currently working on setting up an email. And if that works, this is going to be kind of the process. It's through our Georgia 4-H website. So if that is finalized, I will send out information related to camper mail. But this is our idea, and our goal is that you will be able to communicate kind of the old-fashioned way, at least, by handwritten letters. And you are allowed to send packages to camp, but we just ask that you don't send any food to camp so that we can keep the bugs at a minimum. I want to kind of begin to conclude this session by just saying that we are still looking for volunteers at our camps for this camp and for our Air Force Teen Leadership Summits as well. So if you know of anybody that would be interested in volunteering, or if you yourself that's listening to this presentation love working with youth, have the time to be able to take off to come, please contact me, and I will love to explain a little bit more about this volunteer opportunity. Again, volunteers would arrive typically a day prior than the youth, and it's really a phenomenal experience to be able to give back. I want to say thank you to you for listening to this presentation. I hope you found it beneficial or informative. If you are still feeling that you have some questions about the camp, please contact me and I will be happy to answer those. And again, the information shared today will be sent in email versions to you in packets if you are accepted to camp. Best of luck to everyone applying, and remember that if you don't succeed the first time, that there's always next year. And we are just so happy to continue providing this camp as we see it very beneficial to the youth and all those involved. So thank you for your interest and for allowing your child to apply. And youth member, good luck, and we hope to see you very soon.